attention, and if any students have cell phones they need to silent or put away, that would be great. I won't say that to the adults, but you can infer whatever you want. So anyway, we want to make this as respectful and reverent as possible. So we're going to start with the Stars and Stripes with Mr. Davies and our Bellevue High School band. So thank you.
Next slide, please. Before I get into this, I kind of got a little bit ahead of myself. Another change to the start of my address today was just coming into town on this great day. I had to reflect on, I'm coming into Bellevue, Iowa. What I love about Bellevue, okay? Folks, we live in the greatest country in the world. I've been around. I've seen a lot of cool places, a lot of beautiful places, but it's not as great as America. That could be a whole nother talk I'm not going to go into. But inside this great country, Iowa. You know, I retired. I've lived in a lot of places. Where did I want to retire and come back to? Back here, the wholesome values, you know, the people here that, a quick story, I was in the middle of winter, it was cold. I moved back here from Texas. I was parked on the street, and some guy come up to me and he saw my Texas plates. He goes, Texas? Texas? What are you doing back here when you could be down in Texas? I said, Iowa's got something Texas doesn't. What's that? I go, Iowans. Until you've been around and meet people from other places, there's other great people around this country, I'll get, but they're not like the people here in Iowa. Now I want to narrow that down to Bellevue. You come here and I come into this town, it's a clean town, it's a safe town. I see flags flying up and down the streets, you know, showing the patriotism. I've been in the parades here. I've seen everybody stand up and render a salute or hand over their heart when that flag goes by. Folks, you don't see that everywhere, even here in America. But to see it here in Bellevue. And that's why I love being right here on Veterans Day with the veterans and with the patriotic folks in this room right now. I gotta thank you. Let me go now. My lineage. Let's go ahead, next slide. I come from a long line of military veterans. Until just recently, we found out that Captain Lawrence Van Hook, I don't know how many great-great-grandpas he goes back, but he's here buried here in Jackson County. He was in the Revolutionary War. So I can trace my lineage as far back as the Revolutionary War. That's pretty awesome. Next slide, please. Robert Hogg, great-great-grandfather, 31st Iowa U.S. Infantry, Civil War, right here in Jackson County. Next slide, please. My great-uncle James, where's my Marines at in the audience? I saw you stand up. Great-uncle James fought in Bellevue, World War I. He was killed in action there. Read up on some Marine history, and that's pretty significant right there. Next slide. On the left, just so I know which way you're looking, my father, a veteran of World War II, North Africa and France. Center slide is my father-in-law, World War II veteran, North Africa, Italy, other parts of Europe. On the far side, my son, who's currently serving. He's down in Texas, just back from a rotation in Kosovo. Next slide, please. If you can read that, I got a number of uncles served, brothers served, cousins, nephews, numerous in-laws. I could go on for 20 minutes just to try to name them. But I challenge you at some point to reflect on and think of all the veterans in your family, whether it's a lineage, currently serving, extended family. Call them today, shake their hand, thank them for Veterans Day if they're around. Next slide, please. All right, this one's going to be a little hard to read. This is one of my fun slides. It says, everyone in the military does their job. Then on the bottom there, then there's Jerry. That's me. I was a little different than the rest of them. Next slide, please. These are a couple of me. Yeah, probably a little too serious in some of these places, but folks, I spent 25 years in the Army. 23 of those were active, 2 in the reserves. Went a lot of places, did a lot of things, and very proud of my service. Next slide, please. I joined Special Forces, enlisted straight into Special Forces. A number of older guys and folks know what that is. The U.S. Army is our official title. U.S. Army Special Forces, and our nickname is the Green Beret. Kind of the hat we wear, not a name we're particularly proud of. Girl Scouts wear the Green Berets. But we got 3 big rules in Special Forces. First one, always look cool. Second one, always know where you are. Third rule, if you don't know where you are, always look cool. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, been to a few places, done a few things. Not going to elaborate a lot on that. Top Center, on my way to Haiti for a little, they called it a peaceful incursion. That was the media. That's not what the military would have told you. Bottom couple of slides there, been getting to visit a little time in the sandbox in Afghanistan in my last year. In the military, a lot of folks that are not familiar with this tend to think it's all fighting, it's all combat, it's all serious, and all the people in the military fight. Not necessarily. There's a lot to the military. Not everybody's a combatant. We got a lot of jobs all over. I'm not going to turn this into a recruiting speech or anything, but it's not all about combat. It's not all about fighting. Next slide, please. This is a few pictures I chose to put up from my time in Afghanistan. When we weren't shooting at the bad guys or getting shot at the bad guys or doing other kinds of stuff, a lot of myself and a lot of guys like me were doing a lot of humanitarian work. Going out, and you'll find that goes on in a lot of other places. There may have been people in this room. I did what we called shoe drops and school drops, and people from back here in Iowa, mostly Iowa, sent me boxes and boxes and boxes of humanitarian aid that I could get out to the people of Afghanistan. You haven't seen poor until you've seen some of the folks over there and how they live. Okay. But again, and that's something, I wasn't told to do this. This wasn't my job. But as Americans, you'll find that we have a soft spot in our hearts for those in the world that are oppressed, those that are in miserable places, those that are in dire, and whether they ask for our help or not. A lot of times, we're stepping up, either as a nation, or as veterans individually, or in groups. Next slide, please. Veteran families. Can't talk about Veterans Day, because there's not really a good day to talk about veterans' families. I mentioned before to do a search, in here for you to reflect a little bit about who you know in your families. Folks in here that have mothers or fathers, brothers, uncles, sisters, other people that are in their family that are veterans, some of them make more sacrifices than others. The good-looking gal there holding on to me on my right is my wife, Mary. I think I got another slide about her coming up. That's in the middle, Lee Greenwood, and her there with my son in Fort Benning, just graduated jump school. Let me go to the next slide, please. Okay, now let's go back. Can we go back? No, all right. What I wanted to say about her, I thought I might have had another slide about this, is I'm talking about her in this slide. Veterans family. Married me for 23 of those 25 years. I'm the one that enlisted. I'm the one that joined the military, not her. But guess who had to move around when we moved around the U.S., or we had to move the kids over to Europe, or someone that had to keep the household when I was deployed to different places, whether it was training, conflict, or otherwise? That was her. Okay? A lot of sacrifice there that isn't really thought about. Her father, speaking of military, was the World War II vet, and that other picture. She had a brother join the military. She had a husband in the military. She has a son in the military. Okay? When it's Veterans Day, I thank her, too. And if there's folks here in some of those situations, you need to be thanked as well. Next slide. Okay, I didn't win the lottery, but I did wake up in the best country in the world, folks, and that's kind of the same thing. And that's kind of the same thing. I talked about that a little bit earlier. This is, without a doubt, the best country in the world. Whether you realize that or not, I don't care what you hear elsewhere, but it is. What's my next slide? Okay. I felt we were going to get to this. The most valuable player, the American soldier. Okay. So, folks, getting back to that Revolutionary War, we wouldn't have this great country if they didn't win the Revolutionary War for us to secede from the British. And again, in 1812, when the British came back, trying to get us back under their thumb. Okay? 1812 was the last time anybody else around the world decided to try to invade this country. Folks, we have not been invaded by another country since 1812. Thank you, U.S. military. Okay? We've been attacked since then. We haven't been invaded since then. Now, what have we done since then with our veterans? We protected our borders. We protected our interests abroad. If countries around the world need us, we go. We stopped the tyranny in World War I. We stopped the tyranny in World War II. We bucked up against communism in Korea. In Vietnam, we bucked up against terrorists in the war on terror in the Middle East. It's not within our borders, but we go where we're needed, protecting American interests and protecting our allies abroad. Okay, next slide, please. This was a famous quote. Okay, it's where do we get such men? I was going to save this story a little bit to the last, but I'm going to go ahead and do it now. We took some World War II veterans from 80 years ago, went to Normandy 80 years ago, and they fought to liberate Europe. And then we were in the middle school, we took our World War II veterans into a classroom, into a school assembly, a lot like this. And I saw these kids were screaming, cheering for these 100-year-old veterans, waving so many flags. And the middle school teacher told us that they understood that American boys left the safety of their country, traveled to their country, they fought, they were wounded, they were killed, so that they could be free. And she said the children in this classroom understand what freedom is. They understand what liberty is. And they understand what peace is. And these students understand the price paid for that was down the road, buried in graves in Omaha Cemetery. And they do class trips. These are other countries. You think, well, why are we fighting for them? You get it. You get it when you see them, and they still appreciate America, and they still appreciate American veterans. Until you see it, you just don't know. Next slide, please. U.S. flag. This flag right here. To me, this represents everybody in this room, but it's got a lot of meaning for this country and a lot of meaning for every veteran in this room. If you haven't been to a veteran's funeral, maybe you will sometime, when you hear them play taps, when you hear that 21-gun salute, when you see them pull that flag off that coffin, fold it into a triangle, and hand it to the next of kin or that family member, maybe you'll start to get it. Maybe if you don't now, maybe you'll start to get it then. You don't burn it, you don't disrespect it, you don't kneel during the national anthem. When they play that national anthem, you do the Pledge of Allegiance. You stand on 2 feet. 2 feet. You stand on both feet. You don't bend one knee. You don't chew gum. You don't look around. You understand what's going on when they play that anthem. You do the Pledge of Allegiance. Next slide, please. Our freedom is the most expensive thing you own, even if somebody else paid for it. I kind of did this slide to understand a little bit how this veterans can feel. We'll play a video at the end of this presentation. I kind of challenge you to watch where you see every flag in that video. Again, we take it a little bit personal. Next slide, please. What can you do on Veterans Day? First of all, you can honor veterans. You're doing that right now. You're doing a great job. It is hard to get better than what we have right here. Thank them for their service. You shake their hand, you look them in the eye, you give them a sincere thank you for their service. Okay? You assist them if you can, however that is. You listen to their stories of service. A lot of people in here went to cool places. They did cool things. They did things they may not necessarily like to talk about. They won't talk about it sometimes until you ask them. Ask them. Find out where they've been, what they've done, what they liked, what they didn't like. A lot of stuff we didn't like. Understand, appreciate their sacrifices. Pray for them. Pray for them. Learn other veterans in our community. There's a lot of us out here, folks. I've never seen a legion that's more active than what we have here that's involved in this community. Okay? Attend patriotic assemblies and parades. Here we are. Do that. Fly your flag proudly, whether it's in your yard or you have a chance to display one somewhere. I love it. I've had good friends from other countries come visit, and they are amazed at how often they see the U.S. flag flown somewhere. You're kind of Bellevue, it's like, yeah, we see it all the time. We see it. Go to some other place. If you go to another country, tell me how many times you see that country's flag flown. You just don't, and you don't see it as much as you do in places like Bellevue, Iowa, right here. Be patriotic Americans. If I can't say this enough, be the person a veteran is proud to have served for. We serve for you guys. You guys represent this country. We serve for you. Make us proud. A lot of you do. Support your American Legion, your VFW, your NVET, your auxiliaries. Volunteer. Be that great American. Just do that. You guys made me so proud that I served again. Seeing you all here today, yeah, I do it again. What do I got next? Okay. Would ask why I served and joined Special Forces. Okay. I've been asked a time or two. Why'd you join Green Beret? Was it the danger? Yeah, I thought it was, young, crazy. Was it the excitement? Yeah, jumping out of airplanes, scuba diving, mountain climbing, skiing, traveling around the world. Yeah. Was it the travel? Yeah. Wow, we do a lot of it. Well, the more I did that soul searching, wow, what did I like most about being? It's not so much why I joined, it became later what I liked most about being in it. And it boiled down to, it was the people I went to work with every day. These were guys that didn't say quit, that said if there was involved in an impossible situation, no, we'll figure a way, we'll try it, we'll do what we can. They just didn't say, I will quit. And then I'm also going to work with guys on missions that were more afraid of mission failure than they were of dying. More afraid of letting their buddies down than they were of dying. Where do you find people like that? And that's very prominent in a lot of our veteran community. Okay? You find that in a lot of our firefighters and a lot of our law enforcement. It's not just veterans, but it's pretty prevalent in the veterans community. Any wounded veterans, any Purple Heart recipients here in the audience today? Okay. If there were, I want down any Gold Star. Okay, so okay, we'll go ahead with our next. All right, folks, that concludes my presentation of the assembly. I do have a video I just wanted to have played for you all. Again, it's a little heartwarming, but I would say make notice when you see the flags. Thank you for your time. You can go ahead.
All right, thank you, sir, that was excellent. Come back up here with 3 tears in my eyes, you know? Fired 3 rounds of volley, followed by the playing of taps. Again, when the playing of taps, please stand. If you are a veteran, please render a hand salute. If you are not a veteran, please place your right hand over your heart in an appropriate manner. All right, take seats, thank you. We'll give them a few minutes, we'll retire the color. And after we retire the colors, our ladies auxiliary will be presenting some clothes of valor. I also want to say that following the program, the Bellevue High School Student Council will honor all veterans and spouses for dinner at Horizon Hall, catered by Chad at Riverview. So everyone can come to the Horizon Hall and have a free dinner served by the council also, which is great. Please stand and render hand salute for the retirement of the colors. Alrighty, thank you. You may be seated. We'll now have the quotes available, distributed by our ladies auxiliary.
Good morning. Today we have 8 quilts that we want to present to the veterans, and I will be calling your name. We're going to ask each of these veterans to help us out a little bit. So we will be bringing your quilt forward, and one of our helpers will come with, and we're going to ask you to help open the quilt up so everyone can see the quilt that you've received. The first quilt will go to Edward McDermott, who is in Navy. It's always difficult finding the top and the ends. Thank you for your service. Our next veteran is Nicholas Gleason, who is Army National Guard. The next veteran is Warren Ellis, Army Corps of Engineers. We will find Warren and get the quilt to him. Thank you. Mitchell Hoffman, Army. Okay, I think Mitchell isn't here either. We will get the quilt to Mitchell. Daniel Jacobs, Army. Keith O'Neill, Army. start. Thank you. You're welcome. We also presented quilts to Jack Yoakum, Jerry's son, in late October. He wasn't able to be here in Bellevue, but his mom and dad took it to Texas, where he is stationed currently. And we also will be giving a quilt to Sean Laughlin, and he will, Rich Norfolk will be getting the quilt to him. So thank you so much. The veterans that receive the quilts will come up after the program so we can take pictures, and all the families can take pictures of them. That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, ladies. We'll now hear I Left My Lamb by the Bellevue High School and Marquette High School Choir. Now please stand for the singing of our national anthem by the Bellevue High School Band, Bellevue High School, and Marquette High School Choir. Very nice. Thanks again for everyone coming today. Thank you for the band, the choir, Mr. Raker for setting up the video, and Lieutenant Colonel for that great speech. Thank you. Awesome. So, and thank you for the Post 273 for presenting collars and doing the firing. I think that's it for today. Like I said before, you're welcome up at Horizon Lanes up there for all the veterans and their spouses. Okay, Mr. Ricker, they're all